Good evening and welcome to the North Lodge Cottage Garden. The rose I'd like to talk to you about today is the one just behind me. This is Malvern Hills, bred and introduced by David Austin Roses in 2002. This is a medium-sized, repeat flowering, rambling rose. My specimen has been in the ground for 18 months now and is still yet to really reach its full size and capabilities. But you can see it's been really quick to establish itself and has already reached the top of our 8-foot fence and is already spreading 5 or 6 feet to my left. I've been really impressed by just how quickly this particular bare root rose that's only been in the ground, as I say, for 18 months has really established itself. It's vigorous, it's healthy, and it seems to have completely rebuffed all of the disease problems that we had in the garden last year. It didn't suffer with powdery mildew or black spot at all. The aphids seemed to leave it alone. This one came highly recommended to me by Steve, the head gardener over at David Austin Roses. I commented on one of his posts a couple of years ago and he said, you really must get this rose into your collection. So when the fences went up here nearly 2 years ago, it was first on my list to get. As I say, it's going to reach around 15 feet, so for most domestic gardens it's going to be a really good rose for establishing itself quickly but not getting so large that it gets out of hand and completely swamps your house. If you wanted to grow this up the front of a house, it's a really good option as it's repeat flowering. It's going to be in flower all the way through the year, from the very beginning of June, where we are now, all the way through to the back end of the season. The blooms themselves, as you can see, open this lovely buttery strong yellow. The buds really tight formed and they're born in small clusters, as you can see here, in 5s, 7s and 9s. Small clusters that hang very daintily down towards the ground on arching stems. It really is very attractive. As the flower opens, it opens to around 1.5 to 2 inches across. A beautiful shaped rose, very much like the flowers on Harlow Carr or the Country Parson in shape and size, just ever so slightly smaller. As the bloom ages, let's pick another one for you so you can see what we're talking about. As the bloom ages, it goes completely and utterly this lovely buttery cream with this lovely fading yellow in the centre, with the petals ever so slightly turning in around that really lovely tight eye in the centre. The foliage is a lovely matte green with an almost translucent quality to it. You can see there the veining on the leaf is really quite apparent. The new growth is strong, vigorous and virtually thorn-free, which is really useful, especially for a climbing rose that you may be wanting to do a lot of pruning when it gets to its full size. As you can see from the growth that's rising just behind me, the new growth tips are scarlet red, a really deep, rich burgundy colour, which with the light yellow flowers and this very opaque type of foliage is really rather attractive. Scent-wise, I'm afraid I'm not picking up on anything on this one at all. I mean, it's a fairly cool evening here, only about 15 or 16 degrees, and fragrance is normally built up over a warm period of the day, but unfortunately I'm not picking up on anything at all from this particular rose, although the David Austin website states that this is actually a medium to strong myrrh fragrance, but I'm not picking up on anything on this at all. But this is Malvern Hills, bred and introduced by David Austin Roses in 2002 and named by after the famous hills not far from the nursery up there in Shropshire. Malvern Hills is a really good size rose, which I'm looking forward to when it really gets itself established and moving here in the North Lodge Cottage Garden. But this is Malvern Hills from David Austin Roses, introduced in 2002, and really is a very pleasant, small but manageable rambling rose.